Right, you lot, let's talk Villa in a video that I am very, very excited to bring you today. It is my semi-realistic dream transfer window for Villa this summer. With FFP being taken into mind, how do I think that we could approach this summer with minimal net spend and build a team that can challenge for both the Premier League, Champions League, as well as the Carabao and FA Cup next season. Like I said, it's going to be semi-realistic, a couple of transfers in there that are very, very likely, a couple that may not be, but this is a dream, so let a man dream. As always, if you are enjoying the content, leave a like, subscribe for more. Let's get straight into the outgoings before we look at who I would bring in to make us a top Premier League team next year whilst not spending that much money. So as you can see on the screen, there's 7 players from the goalkeeping and defending unit that I would be looking at shipping out next season, just to make a little bit of room for us to sign some players. And there are a couple of sacrifices in this video. Like I say, FFP is going to take a massive hit on Villa this season. I don't think it's going to be the humongous net spend season that we're thinking it's going to be. That will come further down the line if we can establish ourselves in the Champions League again next season. But first of all, that little square with 2 million on it, that is reserved for Robin Olsen. Like I said in my chopping block videos, all of these have come from my chopping block videos as well, so go back and have a look at them if you do want to. I think we could recuperate around 2 million for him. He had a couple of good showings in the Premier League this season as well as in the Cup, so he could get us a little bit of money to play with. Next up, 20 million, it is Matty Cash. His current market value actually sits at about 28 million, so getting 20 million for him isn't actually out of the realms of possibility. I feel like a club outside of the Premier League or a newly promoted Premier League club could possibly pay that for him. £10 million for Luca Digne. I think a lot of clubs from Saudi Arabia are linked with him. The only reason it's him and not Moreno is because Digne is one of the highest earners at the club in terms of wages, and we have to obviously cut our wages if we are going to want to be complying with FFP next season. For 500k, unfortunately, I think it is the end of the road for Seb Ravan. A good, relatively good loan spell at Rotherham last season means that we might be able to recuperate nearly £500,000 for him, and I think it's just his time to go and get a bit more regular first team football somewhere. Apart from Aston Villa, I don't think it just won't happen for him this season. I think we need to recuperate as much money as possible. Next up, 2 million to get Callum Chambers off of the books. Anyone who that will take him. Ipswich, newly promoted team, could be a good fit for him going forward, but I would like to see him off of the books. 500,000 for Courtney Hawes, I think is very, very fair. He is technically, I think he could, again, a newly promoted Premier League club. You think of the likes of an Ipswich again from the Championship coming up. They're going to want to look to bolster their squad with Premier League experience, and I think about 500k for him would be pretty fair. And then the biggest sacrifice of the defenders is Diego Carlos. If we could recuperate around 20 to 25 million for him, AC Milan and Inter Milan have both been rumoured to be interested in him, then I think it would be a smart business move, and you'll see why when we come on to the signings. And then we move on to our midfield and attacking unit, and only 5 players for me going from this bunch, bringing us to a total of 72 million and an overall outgoing total of £127 million of player sales. Pretty good when you are looking to rebuild, considering a lot of these players would be considered dead wood. The first one is actually fully confirmed, and that is Morgan Sanson. His move to Nice has been made permanent after hitting certain clauses within his loan contract. That is a £4 million deal. Next up is the big sacrifice. It is Jacob Ramsey, anywhere between 40 and 50. I went for the lower end to not make this video too unrealistic. Newcastle, rumoured to be one of the clubs that are heavily interested in him. Philip Coutinho, clearly not going to play for Villa anytime soon. If we could get 5 million from a club in either Brazil, the MLS or Saudi Arabia for him, I think that would be a very, very good deal for both sides involved. He might have a little bit still left in the tank for those types of teams. You could see him playing with like Messi again at Inter Miami or something like that. Next up, Leander Dendoncker, didn't work out for him at Napoli, but current market value is still sitting at around 15 million. I'd happily take 8 for him just to get him off of the books. I think a lower Premier League team, so a team that might be battling relegation next season, i.e. like an Everton or something like that, would be a good deal for them, considering it's a cheap, proven Premier League player. Even maybe someone like a Brentford for next year. And then Cameron Archer coming back to the club from Sheffield United. I think he's going to get shipped straight out again. We'll be looking at a lower level Premier League club, or even a club that's looking to bounce straight back into the Premier League next season. I would say he's a good fit for like a Leicester, but I don't think they're going to have any money to spend this season. But maybe a team that's looking to bounce straight back from the Premier League from the Championship back into the Premier League, like a Burnley or someone like that, a Luton. A team of that ilk who might lose a couple of their strikers might look at someone like Cameron Archer. But that gives us £127 million in the bank. Who should we go out and get? What will our final squad be looking like? Let's have a look. But before we do that, just from my chopping block videos, this was the final squad that we were left with. It's a current size of 19 out of 25, 25 being the maximum allowed for the Premier League. We have Martinez, Joe Gauci and Sinesalo coming back from his loan at Exeter is our goalkeeper option. Defence, you can see, looks light at the moment, but trust me, that will be changing with Moreno, Pau Torres, Tyrone Mings, Ezri Konsa and Kane Kessler Hayden. Our midfield use it, Kamara, Douglas Luiz, Timo Rogmanum, Yuri Tielemans and John McGinn. Our attacking / wing options, not winging, we wouldn't be winging it, trust me, with these wingers. It's Diaby Bailey, Emi Buendia back from injury, and Morgan Rogers. And then our two strikers, the same as this season, Ollie Watkins and John Jada Duran. But let's get that squad up to the full 25 with 6 or even maybe more, and you'll see how I've done that incomings. And first up, maybe a bit of a left field one, it is Leif Davis from Ipswich. As you can see on the screen, got 18 assists last season in the Championship. This kid has an absolutely insane attacking output, and the way that he whips crosses in is reminiscent to me of like a Championship version of an Andy Robinson or a Trent Alexander-Arnold, just on the other side, and his assists speak for themselves. He's got 14 assists the season before, I think it was for Bristol or someone like that in League One. And as you can see, just putting in good performance after good performance. With Luca Digne going, who is an attacking-minded fullback, we need to bring in another one. 24 years of age, much different to the likes of Moreno and Digne, who are both in their 30s. And look at that attacking output. Wing-backs getting forward is a bit of Emery. He loves it. It is a little bit of him. And this kid with 18 assists last season, nearly 1,300 successful passes, a cross accuracy of 29%, and that is on 99 successful crosses. So the amount that he's putting in to get that high of a percentage is insane. 125 chances created. I can't speak highly enough of him. And then you look at his defensive actions as well. 75% of his tackles won, 201 recoveries, 45 interceptions, wins nearly 60% of his aerial duels. He's 6 foot tall. Get him in. Next up is a player that we've spoken about a lot on the channel, and it is our first free signing, because again, FFP, we have to be careful. That is Hermoso. Started 29 games this season in La Liga, getting an average rating of over 7 per game. A left-footed centre-back, could also be deployed at that left-back position if Emery really needed him to, if he wanted to play that and give the right back a bit of freedom to go forward more, instead of holding a bit more that Cash and Konsa have had to do this season. So we're almost switching our style of play. And then, a good on-the-ball defender. We'll get onto that now. You can see his passing statistics there are insane. An 87% pass success ratio off of 1,500 passes, 60% long ball accuracies, somehow created 17 chances from centre-back this season in La Liga. Possession-wise, nearly a 65% dribble success rate, nearly 2,300 touches. I don't need to say anything more about this guy. He's a typical Unai Emery centre-back signing, fantastic on the ball, and really has an eye for a pass as well. And like I say, with having to spend about 15 to 20 million on Leif Davis, this releases a little bit of that pressure on FFP by bringing in a very, very smart, world-class centre-back / left-back. Again, no money spent. It's a no-brainer. His defensive stats are fantastic, and I really think he would take our left side of defence to the next level. Now, I'll be honest, I wanted this one to be Tosin Adarabioyo, but he has gone to Chelsea. They've snapped him up on a free, and I think the next best thing for free in the Premier League / Championship is going to be Gabriel Osho, a player that Villa have already been linked with this season on a free transfer. Only managed 21 games for Luton last year, but he did manage to score 2 goals in that time. A 25, 26-year-old centre-back, again for free, proven in the Premier League now. I think his Premier League campaign last season, despite it being for Luton, who were slightly leaky at the back, has caught the eye of a lot of the top teams. And again, we need to get in that right-footed centre-back, which he is, to replace Diego Carlos in my version of this transfer window, to be that backup for Konsa, who I want to be a centre-back next season. And I think Osho does that. He takes a lot of pressure off of Konsa. Again, if Konsa needs a rest, Osho's the type of player that can fill in. 82.5% pass accuracy as well this season is very, very good. He's very, very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Needs to work on his aerial duels, slightly only winning 50% of those, but 31 interceptions this season. He is a good player, and for free, for backup for Konsa, it's very shrewd. And here's your first big sign-in. £34 million release clause in his contract. That is widely publicised. The likes of Arsenal going for him. It's Jermaine Frimpong. 9 goals and 7 assists from 31 games in the Bundesliga this season, playing that right wing-back role under Xavi Alonso, who's just almost revolutionised how wing-backs play. An average rating of 7.4. One of the premier wing-backs in world football. Him and Angelino have been absolutely fantastic. And that release clause is still in his contract. He come from the Man City Academy. Maybe he wants to come back and prove himself in the Premier League. His stats speak for themselves. Like I say, 9 goals, 7 assists. You really don't need to look further than that. And those 9 goals are from 21 shots on target. Very, very good conversion rate. 45 chances created for his other teammates as well this season. I really think that could, play into the strengths of some of the strikers that we're going to get onto a little bit later. 48 successful dribbles, 228 touches in the opposition box. Won a penalty as well this season, 29% cross accuracy percentage as well, similar to Leif Davis. Imagine if we had those just whipping crosses in. Ollie Watkins would be having an absolute field day. Oh, and did I mention, he can also bloody defend. 65% tackle success ratio this season. He's recovered the ball, 94 times, 1 possession 21 times in the final third. Sign. And next up, another free signing, one that's almost confirmed in real life now, strangely enough. One I've done a video on, and I feel like I have to defend it a little bit, and I am going to this video. It is Ross Barkley, 32 games in the Premier League this season, 5 goals and 4 assists, so 9 goal involvements with an average rating of 7.32. Guys, please hear me out. Ross Barkley is a fantastic free signing. This is not the Ross Barkley that played for Villa a few seasons ago. This is a Ross Barkley who has reinvented himself, and I think got his head screwed on this season. You look at his stats: 85% pass accuracy, 88 accurate long balls, 44 chances created, nearly 1,200 successful passes. The stats offensively are fantastic, but where he really impresses me is the fact that he's playing a bit more of a deep lying role, and his progression with the football. This guy gets you yards on a football pitch. And I know we're not playing American football, this is English football, but that is so important to drive you out of that hole. He's looked really press resistant this season. You can see their dribble success ratio of 66%. 66 successful dribbles puts him right at the top of his position in the Premier League this season. He's had nearly 2,000 touches. He has won 40 fouls. And then we look at his defensive attributes this year, which is, again, I think that side of his game that he's really added. 195 duels won, an aerial success rate of 56%, which is good. We need some physical presence in our team. 25 interceptions, 201 recoveries, and won the ball back 22 times in the final third. Guys, for free, it's a fantastic signing. And this is the biggest signing of the video. I've put 60 million because that's the rumoured fee that Manchester United and Chelsea would be looking to pay for him. But I think we could honestly burst the bank wide open for Michael Olise. I really do think he is going to be one of the best footballers in the world in the next few years. 19 games, 14 starts, and 16 goal involvements, an average rating of 7.71. Yes, there is the slight injury concern around his hamstring, but Aston Villa medical staff, I'm sure, will be all over that like a rash, keeping him fit, because he is the best winger, I think, or he will be the best winger in the Premier League next season, no matter who he is playing for. We look at his stats this season. I mean, 10 goals and 6 assists from the amount of minutes he's played should speak for itself. But he's also having a pass accuracy of 83%, a cross accuracy of 26%, and a long ball accuracy of 72%, putting him in the top 25th percentile for all of those stats this season. With the ball at his feet, he is a trickster. He is like it is glued with super glue. 40 successful dribbles off of a percentage rate of 55%. Again, his touches and stuff is low purely because he hasn't played that many minutes this season, but 43 fouls won. He's almost a bit like Jack Grealish in that regard, and that's probably why he's injured so much. And defensively, he wins a fair amount of his duels, nearly 50% on 110 won, 21 blocks, and he does work back as well. One of the best wingers in the world, break the bank, that's my dream signing right there. See you later, boom. And hot damn, I might be a bit of a release clause merchant, but is Joshua Zirkzee, another £34 million release clause from Bologna, ex-Bayern Munich Academy graduate from the Netherlands. This season, 34 games, 11 goals and 4 assists. The reason I really like Joshua Zirkzee is because he is a playmaking forward who is also like 6'5". So he's in there for the crosses. You can see what this team's going to be going for with the players that I'm bringing in. But he takes the playmaking burden off of Ollie Watkins and allows Ollie Watkins to flourish, being a goal scorer, which is what Unai Emery has turned him into. Yes, he's done fantastically with his assists this season, but have a little look at these guys' stats. The 11 goals that he scored this season has all come off of green statistics in terms of how he has taken those opportunities. 702 successful passes on a 78% ratio, and he's also created 43 chances for his teammates. 52 successful dribbles puts him right at the top of Serie A off of 1,500 touches, and 151 of those being in the opposition box. Honestly, if you watch this guy with the ball at his feet, it is outstanding, and his playmaking ability, his range and ability of passes is brilliant. And look at that. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, playing as a second striker, he gets back, he does the dirty defensive work. You can see there 29 blocks, 103 recoveries, and 30 times he's won the ball back in the final third. He can be our playmaking striker. Ollie Watkins can be the out-and-out goal scorer. Those two up top is scary. Simply scary. And then the final player of this video, and it is a loan signing. PSG have all but confirmed that he will be leaving on loan. It's another player that I've done a video on in the past, which is way more in depth than this one, so you can go and check that out. But it is Xavi Simons. Plays on the left-hand side, so we've got him on the left as well to add a bit of depth. Because, Morgan Rogers, again, picked up that injury towards the end of last season. We don't want to overdo him. He's got 11 assists and 8 goals in the Bundesliga this season off of 32 games and an average rating of 7.81. You can see all of his statistics are in the green. He's in the top 5th percentile for so many things this season. 1,100 successful passes, a long ball accuracy percentage of 86%, and 30 successful crosses on a percentage of 40, which is very, very good and very, very pinpoint accuracy as well. And he'd be on the left, whipping it into Zirkzee, who, by the way, is like 6'4", 84 successful dribbles this season, 117 touches in the opposition box, and he also won 2 penalties and 70 fouls. He also wins a lot of his duels, 55% on 203, and you can see the blocks, possession in the final third, one back. They're all green to the gills. He is brilliant. And that leaves us with this. You can see a squad size of bang on 25. Now, how did I do that whilst making 7 signings, you may ask? Timo Rogmanum and Kane Kessler-Hayden all qualify as under 21 players, as does Lino Sosa, and as does Kosta Nedeljkovic. Probably butchered that name, I do apologise. So as you can see, the under 21s that I think could make an impact this season are the aforementioned players. Also, Amari Kellyman and Sil Swinkles could also get a couple of first team minutes. There are the likes of Finley Monroe as well. So we have under 21s to call on. Our goalkeepers stay exactly the same. Our defence gets the added bonus of Leif Davis, Mario Hermoso, Osho and Frimpong to really bolster that defensive unit out. Ross Barkley slots into the midfield, which gives us 5 centre mid options, which is very, very good considering we do play with 2 centre mids. So you always like to have that one direct option and then almost like the floater as well. Xavi Simons and Michael Elise getting added to the winging options or winger options at Aston Villa is simply filthy. And then Joshua Zirkzee gets added in as that third option up top. Now that is the squad size. What about the squad depth? And as you can see, it's simply silly. We have at least 3 players in every position for that squad depth. The strongest positions for me are in that centre mid spot and that right wing spot, as well as up front. To have the option of Elise, Bailey and Diaby on the right is scary to the best of times. Bundia in there as well. I kind of didn't know where to put Bundia, so I thought I would leave him out and let you guys decide in the comments down below. Where would he fit in best with this level of squad depth this season? Because there's so many players in there. I thought I'd leave a little bit of something. You know, I like my audience interaction, so let me know down below what you guys are thinking. But look at that squad depth. Honestly, if we had that many players and that many squad options, you know, there's no issues with rotation for the Carabao Cup. There's no issues for rotation for the FA Cup, Champions League, if we're playing a lower team in the group stages or whatever it is now, like the league stages, and the Premier League. We could get away with getting a couple of injuries. That is a real nice thing for an Aston Villa fan to say. I think that's a good transfer window, guys. I really do think it is. And that is the video. My net spend is floating at around 20 million. I think the total incomings adds up to about 147 million. So I think it was about 127 for player sales. So we're only spending 20 million if it was all to go my way. Obviously it wouldn't. Come on, I know I'm not a football scout and I know I don't work for Aston Villa. This is just a fan doing his dream transfers. But that is my dream transfer window. That is what all the chopping block videos have been working up towards. Hopefully, I should be able to get my Premier League review video out for you guys in a couple of days. And then we're going to be tier listing the entire Aston Villa squad for this season. But that is how I would personally rebuild with FFP in mind for our first Champions League season next year with the Adidas kit on, which, come on Villa, you need to start announcing that stuff soon as we look to be one of the world's elite clubs. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Leave a like, up the Villa, be nice to everyone, and I'll see you guys soon.